Hey everyone, Rob here with Quadratec TV. Today we've got a 2001 Jeep Cherokee in the shop. As is common with most Jeeps on the road after 10 or 12 years, the suspension's getting pretty tired and worn out. Rather than replacing it with stock parts, we're looking at it as an opportunity to improve it with a Rubicon Express 3.5-inch Superflex kit. You can follow us along during the installation. We're going to hope to show you some tips and tricks along the way that'll make your job easier if you're tackling this job at home in your driveway. We're going to go ahead and get started with the rear leafs. You can follow us along. Upper rear shock bolts are a common problem. Even after soaking them with a penetrating oil, they still broke. We'll fix them by drilling out and retapping them with a slightly larger bolt. It's a common problem for the shackle bolts to seize inside the leaf spring eyes. Sometimes it can be easier to simply cut the bolts out and replace with new hardware. Worth noting, we'll work on one side at a time to keep the axle stable and to keep it from getting too far out of alignment. For now, we snug the bolts down. We'll torque everything to spec when the Jeep is off the lift and the weight of the vehicle is sitting on the suspension. So after finishing up the rear, which can be a little bit of a pain sometimes, we've come to expect after 10 to 12 years of use, we had to break out the Sawzall and the drill bits and retap some holes, which isn't too uncommon. We're going to move on and finish up the front now and do our transfer case drop. We'll start by first getting the old shocks out of the way. Then we'll remove the lower control arms. So we just finished pulling the front coil out of our XJ. We thought we'd give you a little overview of how a coil spring actually does its job. You can see here, the stock spring is actually almost the same height as the Rubicon Express 3.5-inch lift spring, and you might be thinking, how is that going to give me the lift that I want? Basically, you're going to see that the stock spring is going to be a thinner diameter spring steel, and it's a little bit looser wound. So whereas this spring, once you lower the vehicle, is going to compress, give you a nice comfortable ride going down the road, the Rubicon Express spring is going to stay a lot stiffer and give you that 3.5 inches of lift, which is so important when you're off-road. Don't forget to drill a hole in the spring perch for the new bump stop. Next, we'll slide the bump stop in with the spring and reach in with the socket wrench to secure the bump stop in place. The steering stabilizer mounting bolt is tapered and pressed into place, which can often make it difficult to remove. Don't be afraid to get creative at trying different methods. Your local auto parts stores will often rent tools free of charge, like this puller, which can help in removing the bolt. To install the front shocks, first compress the piston and then set it in place. The Rubicon Express kit includes an extended length rear brake line. We also recommend replacing your front brake lines with extended length brake lines due to the increased travel provided by the lift kit. Anytime you open any part of the brake system, it's important to bleed the entire system once you're finished. Starting at the rear corner, the farthest away from the master cylinder, we'll work our way around the vehicle until all 4 corners are bled. The extended length quick disconnect sway bar links give us the ability to have great articulation off-road while still maintaining safe handling on-road. That about takes care of the lift install on our 2001 Cherokee, the Rubicon Express 3.5-inch Superflex kit. We hope you enjoyed watching, maybe learned a few tips and tricks to get through some of the pitfalls you might have installing a lift kit on an over 10-year-old vehicle. You can pick up a Rubicon Express suspension kit for your Jeep today at Quadratec.com. Thanks for watching. While the job of installing a lift kit isn't overly complicated, if you're not fully comfortable with possibly having to cut, drill, and tap, it may be a good idea to contact your local mechanic or off-road shop that specializes in installing suspension components.